What's going on, guys? It's the day-to-day grind today, guys. Just bouncing from one thing to the next. So, I don't know. I think I said this before, but I do this for anyone who actually cares. Myself, and I think it'll be good for my kids and my kids' kids too. You know, just I don't know, fun to watch once in a while. So, this is something for, I guess, whoever can get value out of it, but I'm just gonna put it on the daily grind vid. So, one of my good buddies that became a good buddy through doing lawn care, I actually told a story about him. He was the guy that burnt up a bunch, like 21 yards when I did fertilize, when I had the lawn care business. And I said it was my fault, which it was my fault. I didn't fire him because he did that. He worked for me for a few years, and then I don't know what happened, but he went plowing one day and said we had an electronic system for doing plow routing. And he punched off that he did all the plow routes, and then about the time that everybody was done plowing for the day, we started getting a bunch of complaints that that this guy hadn't showed up and plowed, and no one had been there yet, and a bunch of angry people, basically, that we were dealing with. So, come to find out, he didn't plow half of his route, and so I had to fire him for that. But then, you know, it was kind of like, it hurt me more than it hurt him, I think, because I needed someone to plow, and he knew what he was doing, but it was kind of like, it needed to be done type of a situation. So, then he wanted to work for me in the spring, and I had to explain to him that, no, you know, like, we're friends and stuff, but we can't do this. That's not acceptable. So, he was a kid. He was like just out of high school, and I mean, when I was just out of high school, I understood that you can't do that, but he didn't. So that is what it is. So fast forward, literally like 10 years, probably 10 years. I've talked to him in 10 years probably 5 times, and of the 5 times, one time he called me probably 6 years ago to borrow one of our aluminum trailers that we use for lawn care, because one of his friends crashed a motorcycle really close to where we ran our lawn business from. So he wanted to use it to transport the bike. And then the last time after that he called, it was probably a year to 2 years later, and he wanted to borrow a zero-turn mower to mow, like, I don't know, to mow something that was like need to be mowed really bad, and it was long, and it was a big property or something. I don't even know. And then the last time I talked to him was yesterday, so I haven't talked to him since the time he asked about the lawnmower till this time. It's been probably exactly a year. So he wanted to borrow a skid steer to do a side project, because he does concrete work now. So now he wants to borrow a skid steer. So I'm going to just basically tell my kids about this, and if you guys want to listen in, that'd be good. But in business, the reason I am where I am is because I look for ways to provide value for people, and in exchange for providing value for somebody, they give me money, and then we create a relationship where I do a whole bunch for them and they give me money because I provide value to them and I make their life easier. And there's something called a relationship, and you might want something. So then what you do is, like over time you ask for what you want, and over time they ask for what they want, and you have this like a give and a take type of a thing. So I just like every time this guy calls me, I like want to know what he's up to, and I'm glad that he calls because like he's a friend from the past and an employee from the past, so it's like good to catch up. But like when he answered the phone, when I saw that I missed his call, the first thing that came to my mind was, what do you want? But he didn't leave a message, and I called him back because I wanted to see how he's been, and whatnot. Well, so he wanted to borrow the skid steer. I didn't, I came up with some lame ass excuse of why he couldn't borrow the mower, and I told him I was going to have to talk to Winkster about the skid steer because technically that's not even mine, which I'm not even going to talk to Wayne about it because no, he doesn't want somebody using his equipment. That whatever. It's just there's a difference between being nice and helping somebody out, and then instead of just getting walked all over and taken advantage of. And it's like you can't even call me and say hi once in a while, and every time you call me you like want something. It's not a good. And then on top of it, it's not like a favor, like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to help my mom out. It's like I'm doing a side job. Go add $250 to your side job bid and go rent a skid steer get a really nice skid steer, not a piece of, like our skid steers need work bad. I mean, we don't even do lawns anymore, so they're kind of rotting away type of a thing. But what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to vent about what he did, but it just helps me put it in perspective of like what you don't want to do. Like if you were calling somebody and you were trying to, it's like calling somebody and asking them to work for you, or you want to work for them, but then everything has got to be, it's all about you. Or if you're hiring somebody and you want to have drivers, but then everything's about you. Well, no one cares. Like, if you want to get somewhere, everything's got to be about them. And sometimes it feels like you are getting taken advantage of to the point because it's so much about them, So, but you got to be careful for that too, because that sucks, and then you feel shitty about it. But I guess hopefully there was a point there, and it wasn't just a bunch of rambling, because that wasn't the goal. But anywho, my main trucking friends, my mentor Adam, and then one of the guys that kind of we formed an alliance with, Dave, we're all meeting up, and we all go to the same Bible study. So 3 trucking companies, and then just some random people are there. So that's where I'm off to. Get to work, guys.